let's turn the page and get into some basketball. So I want to start with some breaking news that broke while we were on the air, and so I'm not even going to say it. I'm just going to put it on the screen. Well, I will say it for those who will listen to this on podcast. We appreciate you guys. Let's see, video file. Please talk amongst yourselves as I do this. Let's see. Downloads. Oh, it won't let me do it. Never mind. I can't grab it. I thought I could. Actually, hold on. Nope, it would not let me do it. So, Chris Paul has been waived by the Phoenix Suns.
Interesting.
He is now a free agent and free to sign with whomever. I know there was discussion at the end of the season that they were prepared to part ways with him and move on, but it is now official. They have decided to move on from Chris Paul. So what team, just off the top of your head, I know this just broke, right? And I'm asking you in the moment, but what team off the top of your head you think would make sense for Chris Paul if he were to sign with someone else? If he doesn't retire, by the way. Because I think
the Lakers. I think it's the Lakers. It's either the Lakers or the Knicks. Brogdon, the true point guard? I mean, Brunson?
I mean, I think he's able to set the table and get his if he needs to. I think he proved that in his playoff run. I think he proved. Okay. Let me give you the team. This was obvious. The team is the Boston Celtics.
Oh, that's yeah. I was trying to think of who I kept thinking like needs a point guard. But yeah, the team, yeah, you actually might be right there.
That's the team. There's been talk about for the last 2-3 years about their need for a true point guard.
Yeah.
Chris Paul at this stage of his career obviously is not the scorer. Heck, he might not be the defender that he was. Well, he's definitely not the defender he once was. But I think if they re-sign Tatum, they re-sign Brown, we could be in the phase of his career where he is, $3 million, $4 million mid-level exception guy where he's not making a ton of money, not taking up a bunch of space on your cap. He can be that guy for your team. I'm trying to think. I feel like he would have been really good in Dallas had they not gotten Kyrie. There's another team that I thought he would be perfect for, but now I'm blanking out. To be honest, if he returned back to New Orleans, I think he'd be a good fit there, just from a leadership perspective, with all the things that they need. Although having two small guards with him and CJ McCollum, but yes, to me it's the Celtics. That's the obvious choice.
What about Milwaukee?
I would have thought 2 years ago when they were like trying to chase that first championship and people were not sure if Drew Holiday was a viable point guard option. I think at this stage it might be too late.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you could have a lineup with Drew Holiday and Chris Paul as your backcourt. I still think at his age, and again, he's always been short, right? I feel like he's a liability defensively that Giannis can make up for a lot of things. Drew can make up for a lot of things, but I don't know if that's going to work. So breaking news, man, Chris Paul. So NBA Finals Game 3 tonight, Nuggets versus Heat. A couple of stats I want to get to. The Heat tie the series up at a game apiece after winning on Sunday night in Denver. And so I just want to throw these stats out at you because it is clear, in my estimation, the reason the Heat are 3 games away from winning an NBA championship as an 8th seed is obviously they made a deal with the devil. It's the only thing that makes sense. They were an 8 seed for a reason. They were down 3 with 3 minutes to go to the Chicago Bulls, in the play-in game, right? They beat we had the little fake Cody conversation last week. They beat the top 2 seeds in their conference to get to the finals. But let me throw these stats at you. Miami as a team this year shot 36% from 3. That was 27th in the league, right? Most of their players shot 35 to 34%. Only one player in the regular season shot over the league average of 36%, which was Tyler Hero at 37. In these playoffs, they're shooting 39% as a team. In particular, Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson, and Gabe Vincent are shooting 41% combined, or 43% combined. Martin and Robinson are shooting 44. Vincent shooting 41. Martin in the regular season was at 35. Robinson was at 32. Vincent was at 33. To put that 43% three-point shooting percentage into context, in 2017, the greatest jump shooting team of all time, the 2017 Warriors that won a chip with Klay, Steph, and KD shot 41%. This Heat trio is on pace to shoot 43. They've made a deal with the Illuminati. They have made their blood sacrifice, and
that's why Lionel Messi's headed to Miami for his next meeting with the same people that the Heat just got done talking to.
It does not make sense. Like, I'm a fake analytics guy, right? So I'll make this comparison. 1 year in our fantasy league, you had a team that, like, I used to keep, like, you know, if you want to make the playoffs, you got to average just about this amount of points a game. Your team was averaging below the threshold to make the playoffs. And then you kept facing teams that were playing below their point totals. And we were arguing in the group chat for weeks. I'm like, he's going to regress. A regression is coming. And you even change your team name that's had some regression in it because you got annoyed at me throwing that out there every week when you kept winning, defying the numbers. At some point, you would have thought Miami would have regressed and came back to the mean. They have not regressed. And it is, quite frankly, it is astounding. And it is baffling people who cover the sport because it does not make sense. There's one thing to be hot for a series. It's another thing to be hot for an entire run, especially when something is jump shooting, which they say it's a miss or make league, and it is true. But the variance on that, like, you just don't become the Splash Brothers overnight. And it boggles my mind. So going forward, how do you think this series plays out with those numbers, right? Of how hot they've been shooting just all playoffs long. Do you think the Heat can win this title?
I think they can. Yeah. I think that something happened in the playoffs. I mean, after you get the play-in games, you're kind of like, all right, we made it into a series. Now let's see what we can do. But I think after that first series, and maybe in the series in the Knicks, it's like you talk about regression. It's like I think this team like grew up like in the playoffs, and I think that they looked at each other and said, you know what, we're not an 8 seed. Like, what do we do? You know what I mean? Like this is, it's not necessarily like, yo, we're playing out of our minds. I think that just kind of was like, hey, bro, like we can go win this thing. We got the shooters, the whatever it is, because they're hitting open shots. They're playing good offense. They're playing good defense. It's not like they're just throwing behind the back bank shots, going in something crazy stuff like that. They're playing good basketball. I'm still Nuggets in 6. I still think I think the Nuggets win tonight. But man, I mean, Hemi buckets, and these guys that he's got around him shooting the ball, and then Bam Adebayo getting 20 and 10. That's a good basketball team coached by a very, very good coach.
I must say I'm a little disappointed that they're playing zone. I'll just throw that out there now. Man up, get a stop. You're too good defensively to be playing zone. I mean, I think, to me, I said this in the Discord. I said this on the show in the Western Conference Finals. The key to the team is Jamal Murray. I get Jokic is their best player. He's the most important player. But if Jamal Murray is going to get you 25 points a game, I would love to see. I probably could do the crunch the numbers myself, but I would love to see if when Jamal Murray scores, at least set the number at 23 points a game. What their record is in this run, which it has to be pretty high because they've only lost 4 games.
Yeah,
but over, I guess, go back to the bubble to in this particular run when he scores over 23 points a game, I'm pretty sure that win percentage is pretty high. Jokic is going to get his. You're not going to stop him. But if you're going to slow down, if Jamal Murray gets hot, it's good night.
Yeah.
I think the thing the thing that should encourage you if you're a Nuggets supporter or Nuggets fan is that they went crazy from 3 and you still had a chance to send it to overtime.
Yeah.
And
they shot terrible from 3 game 1. And you obviously won. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's the thing that should encourage you if you're a Nuggets fan. And I think the other thing that should encourage you is that you're able to make these runs. They started off terribly in game 1. They were down 10-2. By the end of the first quarter, they were down 3. Same thing happens in the fourth quarter. They're down 9 with like 2 minutes left, right? And then they get 2 back-to-back threes, get the stops. And to me, they got a good look from Jamal.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad shot, yeah.
But yeah, like I know there's this whole thing about whether you make Jokic into a scorer versus passer. He passed the ball. The guys just didn't make the shots. If the guys make the shots, the Nuggets likely win that game. I think the Nuggets are still the better team. They got to figure out that zone. I thought they did a really good job in game one of getting Jokic in the middle and then finding cutters and finding shooters. Michael Porter Jr.'s got to start shooting better. I mean, 3 for 17 from three is awful. But I think that the Nuggets are the better team. I'm with you. I think Nuggets in 6. And I think I think they win tonight. You got the Nuggets tonight?
Yeah, I got the Nuggets tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Nuggets as well. I think they win. We'll see. We'll see if this Illuminati sacrifice that Miami has made will continue, and whether Heat culture. This isn't a joke that I made of my own. I saw it on the Dan Le Batard show. Whether it truly is a culture or a cult, we'll find out. Because if they win the championship and continue to shoot like that, we need an investigation.
Yeah,
an investigation.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia has just bought the Miami Heat.
Last thing, I want to close the stride on this. We can get out of here. So Nick Nurse was hired to be the head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers. And he had a press conference. By the way, shout out to Monty Williams becoming the highest paid coach in NBA history. Shout out to you. I have to question what Detroit was thinking, but that's neither here nor there. So he had Nick Nurse had this exchange at his press conference.
Pardon me? Do you want James Harden back? James Harden's a great player. That didn't answer the question. Well, I would say this is that James has a decision to make, and I'd be very happy if he came back. Yeah. So do you want James Harden back?
So I'm gonna let it run.
Do you want James Harden back?
When he says, "Pardon me," do you want James Harden back? You heard him the first time, bro. Like, let's just keep it a buck. I mean, listen. What's the name of the guy who Daryl Morey is the GM? He's going to make what I think that are best decisions for the team. We'll have a talk. If it were my preference, no, I would not want him back. Let's start there. No, you would not want him back. I'm gonna let it run a little bit more.
James Harden's a great player. That didn't answer the question. Well, I would say this.
We know James Harden's a great player, sir.
Yeah.
Do you want him back? No, I don't want him back. But then here's the part that I love at the end.
James has a decision to make, and I'd be very happy if he came back.
Yeah. That right there is just like, I think I might have sold the lie. No, Game 3 has not started. I don't know what part of the world you live in. Game 3 has not started. It is tonight, my good man.
2 hours. An hour and a half away. 2 hours away, something like that.
So let me ask you this. Other than this moment right now, have you ever been put on the spot with an awkward question where you obviously had to lie like Nick Nurse was? Other than this moment right now?
Yikes. Yeah. Pardon me? What was the question? Pardon me?
So I take a timer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you to dive into particulars because that we will.
Man, I've been asked questions like that. I've been asked questions like that in church, in battle rap interviews. You know what I mean? Like, there's been times where I've been hit with questions where I'm just like, oh, well, we're gonna go this route, and and Lord will forgive me.
I'm trying to think. Have I ever been asked a question where I was unprepared to answer? I'm gonna be honest. I did the Same Difference podcast. They had a live show, and there was a segment where they had me on, and they asked about Bill Cosby, and I was like, you know what? I actually might have said I plead the fifth on that live taping. Like, I am not equipped to talk about Bill Cosby, and it is not something I want to get into in public. There are certain conversations, not that I have a contrarian view of Bill Cosby. Let me make that clear. But that is a complex issue, and I don't want to discuss that in front of a live studio audience, please.
Yeah.
I'm good. I will pass on that discussion. So I think that might have been one of those moments where I'm like, we're good. We're good. So y'all let us know. Have y'all been asked any compromise? I would want to hear from y'all. What compromising questions have you been asked in public that you had to answer? And what was it? And what was your answer? You can change the names to try to spare the innocent. but we want to hear from you guys. And with that, that is our show. There's a couple of topics I didn't get a chance to get into. We'll get into them next week. We want to thank you guys for tuning in, watching, commenting. You can catch every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice. Wherever you find the good ones, give us 5 stars, not 4 stars. Leave a comment. You can also check us out on YouTube by searching at Brains and Bars. Same for our social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Brains and Bars. Share, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Until next time, it's been a Black
and White
Thing. And guys, enjoy the game 3 of the finals. We'll holler at y'all next week. Enjoy Vegas, my man. Have a good time.
Go Google Stadium Swim at Circa Casino and Hotel. That's where I'm watching game 4. And then just message me afterwards and be like, okay, bro, I see you.
Oh, I actually went and Googled it while we're online here. Oh, okay. All right. Yo, is that actually a board?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Let's go.
All right. Make sure you got your sunscreen, man.
You ain't never lie.
All right, man. We holler at y'all next week. Y'all be easy.
All right, man. Peace.